Did you hear? Jack's got a promotion. Mom's voice crackled through the phone, almost too shrill for a morning call. I leaned back in my chair, fingers drumming on my desk. Yes, I heard. I've been working with him on that project. Oh, you were? That's wonderful, Mom said, trying to sound enthusiastic but failing miserably. Well, we've had a bit of a rough patch. Your father's been, well, unwell. I sighed. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. But if there's anything I can do, you'll have to let me know. There was a long pause. Actually, Jack and I were talking. We've got some issues. Financial issues. With the house and everything. Jack. My golden child brother. The one who could do no wrong in the eyes of my parents. The same Jack who, a few years back, had ruined my life. Financial issues? Is there something specific you need? I tried to keep my tone neutral, though my heart was racing. I knew what was coming. Mom hesitated. Well, it's just that your father's medical bills are piling up. And we could use a little help. Help? Mom, I'm barely making ends meet myself. I've got my own bills and responsibilities. Please, Alex. We really need it. Your father is so ill, and it's affecting all of us. And Jack, well, he's been trying his best, but... I cut her off. Jack's been trying his best? I find that hard to believe. Another pause, this time heavier. It's been hard since the divorce. The divorce, I echoed bitterly. You mean the one where Jack decided to cheat with my ex-wife and get her pregnant? Mom's voice dropped to a whisper. I was hoping we wouldn't have to bring that up. How could you not bring it up? I snapped. It's not something you just forget. Jack and my ex-wife ruined my life, and now you want me to bail them out? It's not just about Jack, Mom pleaded. It's about the family. We're all suffering. I took a deep breath. And you want me to save the day, like always? Do you even realize how hard it was for me to get this promotion? How many hours I put in just to get here? Mom's voice softened. I know, Alex. We all know. But we're desperate. Desperate, I repeated, my voice low. I suppose you're also desperate to pretend like nothing happened. That I'm still the outsider here, expected to help the people who've wronged me. It's not like that, Mom said, though I could hear the strain in her voice. It's just that we need your help. I leaned forward, feeling a knot tighten in my chest. I need some time to think about it. Of course, Mom said quickly. Just let us know as soon as you can. I hung up, feeling a mixture of anger and sadness. My promotion should have been a time of celebration, but it was overshadowed by the demands of a family that had always seen me as second best. I thought back to the day everything changed. I remember walking into the house that day. It was supposed to be a surprise, an early celebration for my promotion. But what I found was far from what I expected. Jack, can I talk to you for a minute? I had asked him. Sure, what's up? Jack's smile was too wide, too forced. I noticed a hint of something in his eyes, but I couldn't place it. Is something going on? You seem a bit off. Jack's smile faltered. Nothing, just a lot on my plate. We walked into the living room, where my ex-wife, Maria, was sitting. The tension was palpable. Maria, could we have a word? I asked. She glanced at Jack, then back at me. Of course, Alex. What's on your mind? I just wanted to know how you've been. It's been a while since we've talked. Maria's face softened, but there was something in her eyes I didn't like. I've been managing. Things are different now. Different? I said, my voice growing cold. How different? Before Maria could respond, Jack stepped in. Look, Alex, this isn't the right time for this. We have some things we need to sort out. I stared at him, the realization hitting me like a punch to the gut. Sort out? Is this some kind of joke? Jack looked away. It's not what you think. But it was. The truth came out in a messy blur of words and accusations. Maria and Jack had been seeing each other behind my back, and she was pregnant with his child. My world, once stable, crumbled in an instant. Now, months later, here I was, facing a family that had always been distant, now reaching out with open hands, seeking help from the one they had pushed away. I was caught between the success I had worked so hard to achieve and the bitterness of betrayal that still lingered. As I sat at my desk, staring at the framed photo of my promotion on the wall, I knew one thing for certain: no matter what decision I made, it would never be enough to heal the wounds of the past. The next morning, I found myself at the office, trying to focus on the mountain of tasks that came with my new promotion. The walls of my cubicle, usually comforting in their bland neutrality, now seemed to close in on me. My phone buzzed with a new message. Can we meet today? Mom. I typed back quickly, sure. What time? Any time that works for you. Let's do lunch. I put my phone down and stared at the stack of reports on my desk. I was supposed to be thrilled about the promotion. After all, it was a significant step up in my career. But the shadow of my family's expectations and the painful reminders of betrayal cast a long shadow over my achievements. At the restaurant, I arrived early and picked a table in the corner. The noise of clinking cutlery and chatter filled the air, but it did little to drown out my thoughts. I watched the door, waiting for Mom to arrive, feeling a strange mix of anticipation and dread. Mom finally walked in, her eyes scanning the room until they landed on me. Her face was lined with worry, and she looked older than I remembered. She sat down, and we exchanged uneasy smiles. "Hi, Alex," she said, her voice strained. "Hi, Mom. How are you?" "I'm managing," she replied, settling into her seat. "You look well. The promotion must be keeping you busy." "Yeah, it is," I said, taking a sip of water. "I've been working long hours, but it's worth it." Mom nodded, looking around as if searching for the right words. "I want to thank you for meeting me. I know this isn't easy." "No," I said, leaning in slightly, "it's not. I understand that you're still hurt. I know it's hard to move past what happened." "You could say that," I said coldly. "It's not something you just get over. Especially when I see Jack and Maria living their lives as if nothing ever happened." Mom looked down, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her napkin. "We're all struggling, Alex. Jack's trying to make things right, but it's been difficult." "Difficult?" I repeated, my voice rising. "I'm the one who lost everything. My career, my relationships, my sense of normalcy. And now you want me to help the people who took everything from me?" Mom's eyes filled with tears. "Alex, it wasn't supposed to end like this. I know it doesn't make sense, but Jack and Maria made mistakes. They're paying for it, believe me." "Paying for it?" I said, shaking my head. "Jack is still the golden child. He's the one everyone looks up to. And Maria, she's part of the family now, right? It's like they got a happy ending while I'm left to pick up the pieces." "That's not true," Mom said, her voice breaking. "They're struggling too. It's just that they need support right now. And we're asking you because I'm the one who's always been there, right?" I finished for her. "The one who never got the support he needed." Mom's face crumpled. "I'm sorry. I truly am. I know I haven't been the best mother to you. I wish things could be different." We sat in silence for a moment, the clamor of the restaurant creating an uncomfortable backdrop to our conversation. I could see the pain in Mom's eyes, but it didn't erase the bitterness I felt. "Look," I said, breaking the silence, "I want to help. But I need to understand what exactly you're asking for." Mom took a deep breath. "It's a loan. Just until we get back on our feet. We need to pay off some bills, and Jack's been having trouble with his finances. The house needs repairs, and your father's medical bills are overwhelming." I nodded slowly. "How much are we talking about?" Mom hesitated. "Around $20,000. I nearly choked on my water. "20,000? That's a lot of money, Mom. I'm not exactly rolling in cash myself." "I know it's a lot," Mom said. "But we're desperate. We've tried everything else." I took a moment to compose myself. "All right. I'll see what I can do. But I need to know that this is a temporary solution, not a band-aid on a bullet wound." Mom nodded vigorously. "Of course. We'll get back on our feet. I promise." "I hope so," I said, standing up. "Because I don't want to keep being the one who cleans up the messes everyone else makes." As I walked out of the restaurant, I felt a sense of heaviness settle over me. The offer to help was a complicated decision, filled with mixed emotions. I couldn't shake the feeling that no matter what I did, the scars of the past wouldn't easily heal. The promotion was supposed to be my moment, a chance to prove myself. Instead, it felt like another chapter in a story that had already been written for me, one where I was always the one who came through, no matter the cost. Back at my apartment, I stared at the framed photo of my promotion again. The shine of the glass seemed to mock me, a reminder of the personal price I was paying for my success. I needed to make a decision, but the weight of the past was heavy on my shoulders. My family's request had opened old wounds, and the road ahead was uncertain. In the quiet of my apartment, I resolved to take control. I would help, but on my terms. I needed to set boundaries and ensure that my own life wasn't sacrificed for the sake of others. The days that followed were a whirlwind of meetings and late-night work, but the memory of the lunch with Mom lingered in my mind. The promise to consider her request weighed heavily on me. I knew I had to make a decision, but I wasn't ready to do so without understanding the full extent of what I was getting into. It was late Friday afternoon when I decided to visit Jack. I'd heard he was working from home lately, trying to juggle his finances and deal with the fallout of his choices. The thought of facing him made my stomach churn, but I needed answers. I knocked on the door of his modest suburban home, a far cry from the grandeur that had once seemed to follow him effortlessly. Jack answered the door, his face lighting up with a forced smile. "Alex. It's been a while." "Come on in," Jack said, stepping aside to let me in. "Hey, Jack," I said, stepping past him into the living room. It was tidy but clearly lived in. The remnants of baby toys and a crib in the corner were stark reminders of the life he had built with Maria. "Can I get you anything?" Jack asked, trying to sound casual. "No, thanks," I said, sitting down on the couch. "I came by to talk." Jack's expression shifted slightly. "All right. What's on your mind?" "I've been thinking about what Mom said," I began. "About the financial issues." Jack's face tightened. "Yeah, things have been rough. I didn't realize how bad it was until everything hit at once." "That's what I want to talk about," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I need to know exactly what's going on before I can make any decisions." Jack nodded, running a hand through his hair. "I get it. It's a mess. The house needs repairs, and we've got mounting medical bills. I've been trying to manage, but it's overwhelming." "Overwhelming?" I repeated. "You're not the only one who's been overwhelmed, Jack. I've been dealing with my own issues since everything blew up." Jack's shoulders slumped. "I know. I'm sorry for everything, Alex. I really am. I didn't mean for things to turn out like this." "You're sorry?" I said, my voice rising. "Sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry doesn't undo the damage." "I understand that," Jack said quietly. "But we're in a tough spot. Maria and we're just trying to make it work. I know I made mistakes, but we're trying to build a life for our child." I looked around the room, taking in the reality of the situation. "And what about me, Jack? What about the life you helped destroy?" "I didn't want things to end like this," Jack said, his voice breaking. "But I'm asking for help now because we don't have any other options." I took a deep breath. "I'm considering helping, but I need to understand what this means for me. I've worked hard for my promotion, and I'm not in a position to just throw money around without knowing it'll make a difference." Jack nodded. "I get that. I really do. We need a bit of breathing room, and I promise we're doing everything we can to get back on track." "Breathing room," I said, shaking my head. "That's what everyone wants. But I'm the one who's been left holding the bag." Jack looked pained. "I'm not asking for a handout, Alex. Just a loan. I want to pay you back. We'll figure something out." "Pay me back?" I echoed. "That's not a guarantee. You know that." "I know," Jack admitted. "But it's all I can offer right now." I stood up, feeling the weight of the decision pressing on me. "I need to think this through. I'll let you know what I decide." Jack nodded, his eyes filled with a mix of hope and resignation. "Thanks for coming by, Alex. I appreciate it." As I walked back to my car, the early evening sun cast long shadows on the pavement. The conversation with Jack had been more intense than I'd expected, and the reality of the situation was clearer than ever. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed the conversation with Jack, the frustration and the feelings of betrayal. I wanted to help, but I was torn between my desire to support my family and the anger that still simmered beneath the surface. I decided to take a walk, hoping the cool night air would clear my head. The streets were quiet, and the solitude gave me space to think. I passed familiar landmarks, places that held memories of a time when life felt simpler and less complicated. As I walked, I replayed the events in my mind. The betrayal, the fallout, and now the request for financial help. I wondered if there was a way to help without completely compromising my own well-being. By the time I returned home, the first light of dawn was beginning to appear. I felt a sense of clarity emerging from the fog of confusion. I knew what I had to do. The following morning, I called Mom and asked her to meet me again. This time, I was ready to lay out my terms and make it clear that while I was willing to assist, it would be on conditions that ensured my own stability and peace of mind. When Mom arrived, I greeted her with a more determined expression than before. She looked at me with a mix of hope and apprehension. "Hi, Mom," I said, guiding her to a table at a quiet cafe. "I've been thinking about everything." Mom's eyes widened. "Have you made a decision?" "I have," I said, taking a deep breath. "I'm willing to help. But I need to set some conditions." Mom's face brightened. "Of course. What do you need?" "I want a formal agreement," I said. "A clear plan for repayment and assurances that this won't become a recurring request. I need to protect my own financial stability." Mom nodded, her relief evident. "We can do that. Thank you, Alex. I know this isn't easy." "It's not," I said. "But it's the best I can offer right now." As we finished our conversation, I felt a mixture of relief and unease. I had taken control of the situation, but the road ahead was still uncertain. The scars of the past remained, but at least I had established boundaries that would help me move forward. The weeks that followed were a blur of activity. I'd set the terms for the financial assistance and had begun the process of drafting a formal agreement. It was a small comfort to have a clear plan in place, but it didn't erase the lingering frustration and sadness that clung to me. One chilly autumn morning, I met with Mom and Jack again to finalize the details. The meeting was in a small conference room at my office, a place where I felt a sense of control and professionalism that was absent from my personal life. Mom and Jack arrived with a mixture of apprehension and relief. We exchanged pleasantries, but the weight of the situation was palpable. I handed them the draft of the agreement, feeling a mixture of nervousness and resolve. "Here's the agreement," I said, sliding the document across the table. "It outlines the loan amount, repayment terms, and the expectations moving forward." Mom looked at the document, her eyes scanning the terms. "This is fair, Alex. Thank you for doing this." Jack nodded, his expression a mix of gratitude and guilt. "I really appreciate this, Alex. We'll make sure to stick to the plan." I took a deep breath. "I hope so. I want to help, but I need to make sure this doesn't become a recurring problem. I have my own responsibilities to manage." "We understand," Mom said, her voice filled with sincerity. "We're doing our best to get back on track." We spent the next hour discussing the details and addressing any concerns. As we wrapped up the meeting, I couldn't shake the feeling that while I had taken a step towards resolution, the emotional fallout was far from over. A few weeks later, I received a call from Mom. She sounded more upbeat than she had in months. "Alex, I wanted to let you know that we're making progress," she said. "Jack's found a part-time job, and we've started a budget to manage the expenses better." "That's good to hear," I said, trying to keep my tone neutral. "I hope it helps stabilize things." "It is," Mom said. "We're seeing some improvements. I just wanted to thank you again for your help. It means a lot to us." I nodded, even though Mom couldn't see it over the phone. "I'm glad things are improving. Just remember, I'm here to support you, but I also need to take care of myself." "I understand," Mom said. "And we're grateful for that. I know things have been tough between us, but I hope this is a step towards healing." I agreed, though a part of me remained skeptical. The wounds of the past were deep, and while the financial assistance was a necessary step, it didn't erase the hurt. One evening, as I sat in my apartment, I received a visit from Jack. He was holding a small, wrapped gift. I raised an eyebrow as he entered. "What's this?" I asked, noticing the awkwardness in his demeanor. "It's a thank you gift," Jack said, handing me the package. "It's not much, but I wanted to show my appreciation." I unwrapped the gift to find a leather-bound journal. It was simple, but there was something thoughtful about it. I looked up at Jack, who was shifting uncomfortably. "It's nice," I said. "Thank you." Jack gave a small smile. "I hope things can get better between us. I know I made a lot of mistakes, but I want to make amends." "I appreciate that," I said. "But it's going to take time. Healing isn't something that happens overnight." "I understand," Jack said. "I just want to start the process. I hope this journal helps you in some way." I nodded, feeling a mix of emotions. "Thanks, Jack. I'll try to make good use of it." As Jack left, I sat down with the journal, flipping through its blank pages. It felt like a symbol of the new chapter I was trying to write in my life, one that was still being defined by the experiences and choices of the past. In the months that followed, life began to settle into a new rhythm. The financial agreement was being honored, and while the road to recovery was still long, there was a sense of progress. Jack and Mom continued to work towards stability, and though our relationship remained strained, there was a glimmer of hope that things could improve over time. I focused on my own growth, both professionally and personally. The promotion had brought new opportunities and challenges, and I embraced them with a renewed sense of purpose. I started to see the promotion not just as a milestone but as a chance to redefine my own narrative, to find success on my own terms. The journal Jack had given me remained on my desk, a reminder of the complex journey I had been on. I used it to jot down my thoughts, to reflect on the challenges I faced, and to celebrate the small victories along the way. As I looked back on the past year, I realized that while the scars of betrayal and disappointment were still there, they had also shaped me into someone stronger and more resilient. The path forward was uncertain, but I was learning to navigate it with a sense of hope and determination. In the end, it wasn't just about helping my family or reconciling the past. It was about finding my own way through the turmoil and emerging with a renewed sense of self. The journey was far from over, but I was ready to face whatever came next with the lessons I had learned and the strength I had gained.